Hey guys, it's Mark, the Tremor Trainer from tremorworkout.com, doing my part 4 video about my time in Jamaica. This summer I was there for 3.5 weeks and I made certain observations, and I wanted to talk about the crime in Jamaica. Unfortunately for Jamaicans, we are under siege by criminals. It's to the point where people are genuinely scared to leave their homes. I know when I was in Jamaica, I was very scared to go out at night. I went out a few times and my parents were on edge. I'd say like, yeah, just go to bed. When I come home, my parents couldn't sleep. They were scared for me. Not because I'm the type of person to go out and get into fights and start arguments with people or anything, but because when you go out in Jamaica, there is always that chance that you could be stuck up by gunmen, robbed, and for some reason they can't just rob you and send you on your way to see another day for, maybe as people in Jamaica joke about sometimes, they can rob you again another time. No. They rob you and they need to kill you as well. Now, you would think that these robbers and whatnot are people maybe my age or in their 30s or whatever. You would think, but they're not. Apparently, the people doing all these robbings and killings and all this stuff, they are people in their teens. These are children who would be like my children then. And it makes me think about my generation of people in Jamaica. Where the hell did we go wrong? Did we start failing our young people through the education system? Is it bad parenting? What is it? Because we really need to, if you want to fix any problem, you can't deal with the symptoms of the problem. Dealing with the symptoms of the problem is going out as police, hunting them down, basically arresting them, shooting them, whatever. Right? That's dealing with symptoms. Right? But to fix the problem, you need to find the source. Now, I'm at a loss. I don't know what the exact source is. Is it the education system? Is it, some people suggest that it's cable TV and the negative influence from what children watch on TV and people wanting that glamorous life that they see on American TV, the materialism, the capitalism, and everyone wants to bling and no one wants to work. I'm not sure really. It might be a combination of a whole bunch of different things. A lot of these killings happening in Jamaica now, it's to do with the scammers. The scammers who rip a lot of people off, a lot of gullible people. They apparently phone up, well, not apparently, this is what they do. They phone people up and in America and tell them they've won something, but before we can release the $20 million, you first need to send us the administration fee to release the money. I mean, how stupid can you be? And no matter how much it's out in the news about these scammers, people still fall for it. I mean, my God, right? I don't know. People are gullible. People are not so smart. It's life. Apparently a lot of these killings are retaliation things because maybe people within the scamming groups, one person didn't pay another person and that person was ripped off. I don't know. There are all these different things, all these different influences. People also say that it's maybe because of the lack of opportunities for young people, maybe coming from humble beginnings, disenfranchised, not having opportunities to pull themselves up. Maybe people want to pull themselves up, but the opportunities aren't there. So the only way they see, the only way out is to get involved in crime, maybe through robbing people, stealing, dealing drugs, whatever. There are all these different factors, and they all need to be addressed at their source, right? When I go to Jamaica, it's to the point where, and I'm not the only one who does this, who lives outside of Jamaica, but people I know who live in America or Canada or England, wherever, we live outside of Jamaica, Jamaicans living abroad or in Japan, we just kind of sneak in. We can't even really publicize too much. You know, like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, you could get on Facebook, you could say, hey, I'm gonna be in Jamaica, let's catch up. Because it's to the point where you don't really trust everyone, to the point where you can say I'm going in because at the back of your mind, you kind of feel like you could be set up to be robbed and killed. Because people think that when you're working overseas that you're rolling in money. There's some people who think that because I have a website selling a workout program and nutrition program and whatnot, people think I'm rolling in money. I'm not. I'm still doing my day job working as a teacher in a few universities here in Japan. So I'm not rolling in cash. If I was rolling in cash, I would have given up my day jobs and focused on my business. But I'm not rolling in cash. But people, some people anyway, have this idea that you're rolling in cash. I'm hustling to pull myself out of the barrel of poverty just like everyone else, doing it legally. And doing it legally oftentimes means that you have to struggle more. I didn't go down the drug dealer route. I didn't go down the robbing people route, right? Because I need to put my head down on my pillow at night and sleep, which I don't do well anyway. So I can't imagine how I would be if I were ripping people off and robbing them and all this stuff to make a buck, or selling them death and destruction through drugs, right? And I always joke about this to people, that if I were selling people death and destruction, I'd be a millionaire by now, because selling people a changing lifestyle, it's a hard struggle, because people don't like to change generally, right? Not just with lifestyle, but just generally, people don't like change. But something has to give in Jamaica. When I see these stories, and when I watched it, my dad, like 7 o'clock, guaranteed he's watching the news, right? No, he doesn't care if there's a rumbling of the clouds and it's judgment day and God's coming down to judge us all and take up his chosen few. If it's 7 p.m., he's watching the news, and I call it the chop up news, right? When you watch the news in Jamaica, the first few minutes of it is, in this place someone was killed, this place someone was robbed, this place someone was chopped up. So I mean, my God, I mean, it's scary. You know, my mom, being a very Christian lady, she's, well, the Lord will protect his people. I'm like, mommy, but Christians get killed too. Church going people get killed too. They get robbed. I mean, it's ridiculous. I grew up in Savannah Lamar in Westmoreland, in the west of the country, in a small town, Savannah Lamar, small town. I don't even know the population, but it's small. Everyone knows everyone, right? My dad and mom, they did business in the town, so everyone knew them or knows them. And there's certain parts of that town, when I was a child, I could walk anywhere. My friends and I had some friends, we would talk about this. We could walk around anywhere in that town when I was coming up. Even in the parts that were considered rough, I could go there at any time during the day or night and not be in fear. Some of these places, I wouldn't even venture down them unless I'm driving. I wouldn't go into these areas in the daytime now, right? And it's sad. I was telling my friends that when I lived in the heart of Sav, the local high school, Mannings, which I went to for 3 years, call it junior high. I remember every Christmas they had the Miss Mannings competition. It was the fair day. This was a chance for the school to raise money for the school. They had a fair, and in the evening they had like the Miss Mannings competition. I remember as a boy, before I even started high school, living not so far down the road from the high school, I could go to the fair all day. I could go to the Miss Mannings competition thing at night and walk home, even when I was like 9, 10 years old, maybe even younger when I think about it. I could walk home by myself at night and not even worry. Now, I know there's an argument that, oh, well, that's the whole world, Mark. You know, it's like that in every country now. People all around the world said they could sleep with their doors unlocked and all that stuff. But I've got to think about Jamaica first. Right? That's my country. One of my countries anyway. I'm from England as well. But you know, in Jamaica, that's where I worry about my parents. I worry for my parents all the time. They're retired, they're living by themselves, right? They're not rolling in cash, but they have a pretty decent home, and people might see that and think, oh, they must be loaded. I want to rob them. My parents are not rich, right? They're doing okay. They worked hard coming up, right? And they were able to acquire certain assets, but by no stretch of the imagination are they rich. And I worry about them all the time. Like I said, when I go to Jamaica, I have to sneak in and sneak out. I know people who sneak in and sneak out all the time. I know people to the point where when they go to Jamaica, they sneak in. They don't even tell their family members. Because at the back of their mind, somewhere they think that either, a lot of the times in that case, they're trying to avoid all the begging. Leave this with me, leave this with me. Can I have your shoes? Can I have your this? Can I have your that? They're trying to avoid that as well. But at the back of their minds, they're also worried that they could be set up by even their own families to be robbed and killed. And I know people who have been set up by their families to be robbed and whatnot. It's worrying. So, you know what? Again, I think the government, if I didn't say this before, I think the government should be more involved. I was watching this video with the now Prime Minister talking about when he was in the opposition, talking about what the government needs to do. Take some of your own bloody advice here, mate. Andrew, take some of your own advice. Do what you know should be done. The crime is ridiculous. I live in Japan. I can come home at 3 o'clock in the morning, come out of my car, park, come out of my car. I can be on my phone, completely buried into my phone screen, and not have the slightest reason to look over my shoulders because someone might be lurking in the bushes to rob and kill me. I would love that type of lifestyle in Jamaica. When I'm in Jamaica and I pull up on my parents' house, right? I'm kind of just, you know, I don't want to be out too late. I'm wary. Why should we have to live like this? Jamaica it's such a beautiful country. It's paradise. For those of you who have never been to Jamaica, despite the crime, like, my God, go there. It is beauty turned up to the 10th power. The beaches, the mountains, the plains, the valleys. My God, if you go through we talked about this, my dad and I, and this other guy I saw when I was there, who he lived in the UK before, Jamaican family, you know, kind of deal. He said, when you want to see the real beauty of Jamaica, you have to go inland. And he talked about when he was a boy traveling on the trains. That infrastructure, the train system in Jamaica, what's happened to that? Nothing. It's destroyed. Jamaica just has this habit of just taking everything good about it and just running it into the ground. Something has to be done. I love that place, right? I love that place. I feel, as much as I feel British, I feel equally Jamaican, if not more. I love that place and I want to see that place improve. But for it to improve, the leaders of the country have to do something. The leaders of the country have to weed out dodgy politicians. The leaders of the, and if you're dodgy, you need to be weeded out if you're a leader. The people need to get together and get this country back on track. Jamaica could, I'm not the only one who thinks it, and many people have said this to me. Jamaica would have been better off under colonial rule. Now people like to talk about independence. How independent are we? If we're in this case where we're so-called independent, but the country's just gone to the dogs, right? We're basically owned by the IMF and the World Bank. I mean, come on now. We're selling out to China. Come on now. Something has to be done, right? Something has to be done. And what will bring about change, what will affect change, is individuals coming together and working together, which, then maybe I should save this for another video, which people in Jamaica, the general consensus is that we can't work together as black people, right? And that maybe that's the part 5 video that I'll do about this topic. The part 5 will be about the lack of Jamaican people working together. All right, so listen, I've gone on far too long, yet another rant, but it had to be said. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please click like, please comment, share, subscribe, all that good social media stuff. Until the next video, this is Mark, the Tremor Trainer from tremorworkout.com, saying peace.